Welcome to the PreSnap Podcast, a preview of your Thursday Night Football Showdown between the Patriots and the Bills. We'll have your daily fantasy forecast and some sports betting as well. Alongside Tyler Riemann, I'm Shannon Somerville. Tyler, a critical AFC East battle between the Bills and the Patriots. The Bills are 4-point favorites on the road in this one. What do you make of this matchup on paper?
Are you a little nervous? It's a primetime AFC East matchup.
I'm not nervous.
If the Patriots win, the Jets have a much better chance at taking home.
I mean, regardless of what the circumstances are, as a Jets fan, it is always nice to see Bill Belichick and the Patriots lose. And in this case, they are at home in Foxborough in this one. And
yes,
the Bills have had a couple shaky games over the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's still the Bills. They were the preseason Super Bowl favorites for a reason.
I would really like to see the Patriots win this game because that division will be so close. It would be really fun to watch.
Yeah, currently, as it stands right now in the AFC, the Dolphins currently have the lead. They are right up there with the Bills, though. Both teams 8-3. The Jets in third with a 7-4 record, and the Patriots 6-5. The AFC East.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
AFC Beast.
All winning records right there. It's a tough division this year.
It is very hard.
Something perhaps before the season we might not have said. Nonetheless, things are looking tight there. Who do you anticipate coming out of this as the AFC East champions?
Ooh, before the show, I was looking at all of the schedules, and man, the schedules are tough. The Patriots might have the easiest path to get there.
Yeah. Right now, the Dolphins have the second toughest schedule according to opponents' DVOA in all of football.
Yeah.
The Bengals have the toughest right now, so the Dolphins do have a tough road ahead of them. They've got San Francisco, Chargers. Both teams are on the West Coast. Then they're at Buffalo, Green Bay, New England, and then the New York Jets. So they've got a tough road ahead of them. If we look at the Bills, after New England, they've got the Jets, Miami, Bears, Bengals, and New England, so certainly not an easy road for them either. The Jets have Minnesota, Buffalo, Detroit, Jacksonville, Seattle, Miami. Very winnable games there for the Jets. And the Patriots, as you mentioned, probably the easiest schedule moving forward. They've got Arizona, they've got the Raiders, the Bengals, the Dolphins, and Buffalo. So anything can happen. Who do you think it'll be?
I am starting to believe in the Jets.
All right.
The great
Is that why you're wearing green today?
It is.
I knew it.
It is. Just for you.
So what makes you think the Jets are for real?
So I don't think that they're going to end up winning in the division, but I think they really have a legitimate chance with the schedule and with how it plays down. But with your savior, Mike White, I think the offense actually has some life, which it hasn't had all year. And if that is for real, I think there's a path that they could do it.
I wish I shared your confidence, but as a lifelong Jets fan who has had their heart torn out of their body for years, I can't get behind it. I can get behind the Bills, though. They're number one in overall DVOA, and they're probably one of the more balanced teams in the NFL right now. When I look at the other teams, I don't know. The Dolphins, as a whole, I know a lot of people are jumping on board that offense and the Tua bandwagon. I, however, am giving pause to the fact that they lost a stretch of games to the Bengals, the Jets, and the Vikings. It seems people have forgotten that. And their wins over the last 5 games haven't been to any team with a winning record. They've got wins against the Steelers, the Lions, the Bears, the Browns, and the Texans. Congrats. You haven't beaten a winning team since week 3.
I don't think the Dolphins are going to win it, especially with that schedule. I think it is going to come down to either the Jets or the Bills. And the Jets really need the Patriots to win this game to have a little better, little easier path, at least. Now, will that happen? Who knows?
Well, we'll get to our game picks later on in the show. First, though, we've got to get to our injury report. We do have a couple key injuries to take note of. We are going to SIXScore.com for the latest injury information. The Pro Football Docs there giving us the best updated analysis of all the injuries in the NFL. It's a great resource for you to check out, SIXScore.com. First, let's look at the Bills defense. Key player here that is out, Von Miller, who's one of the best pass rushers out there. He is out. He suffered a knee injury on Thanksgiving, so he will remain out. On the Pats offense, we have 2 O-linemen questionable. One is out with a concussion. Jacoby Myers, wide receiver, is questionable, although he should play. He's been limited in practice. He did hurt his shoulder in that Thanksgiving game. Damian Harris is out with a thigh injury. Anything that jumps out to you from a fantasy perspective, perhaps?
A couple things. One, obviously Von Miller being out is huge. And then also Damian Harris. Him being out, every time he's been out, Ramondre Stevenson has just had a huge workload.
Yeah.
So I'd expect that to happen, and he's a great play. I mean, he is so exciting. Yeah, I'm ready.
You're ready for that. All right, let's take a look first at the Pats defense going up against the Bills offense. We've got cornerback Jalen Mills is questionable in this one on the Pats defense. For the Bills offense, we've got Deion Dawkins, who's out on the offensive line. That is a fairly significant injury. Dawkins is such a crucial position there on the O-line to protect Josh Allen there. Anything really noteworthy there for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you don't ever want to lose a left tackle, so that's definitely noteworthy, especially when there's been a lot of talk about Josh Allen and his injury. Even though he is off the injury report, we do know he's had a nagging elbow issue. So.
Right. All right, that leads us to our daily fantasy projections for this Thursday night football game in Week 13. First, let's look at the Bills. And the quarterback we just talked about, Josh Allen. He has struggled, dare I say even use that word, because his struggle is another quarterback's, great.
Yeah.
So Josh Allen, the last 4 of 5 games, he's had a passer rating under 80. He's usually around 95 to 100, so that was a little bit off. However, he is still second in the NFL in passing yards, which is pretty remarkable. And this is a guy who's got the best throwing arm in the NFL, matched with some pinpoint accuracy, and that combination is deadly, especially to a team like the Patriots, who just got burned by Kirk Cousins for 300 yards. What do you make of Josh Allen's spot in daily fantasy?
Yeah, I mean, you got to love Josh Allen for fantasy. Pretty much week in, week out. There's been a lot made about his injury, but like we just said, he is off the injury report. He's been off now for a couple weeks. And since Thanksgiving, I've heard a lot of people talking about how he just doesn't look right. But he threw over 40. He threw 42 passes, I think, this week. A couple weeks ago, it was 43. Like, they're letting him air the ball out. I'm not really worried about that injury. The inconsistency with some of his accuracy and his completion percentage started before, he got hurt. So I think he's just been off a little bit. I would be riding him if for whatever reason his ownership at a captain spot really drops this week. I would be all in.
Right. When I was taking a look at the stats and I was trying to figure out if he's struggling, he still is one of the best quarterbacks, even though he's quote unquote struggling over the last couple weeks.
Especially with his rushing upside and how they use him near the red zone. A lot of the time they get to the red zone, it's either him rushing or him throwing.
Yeah.
Singletary doesn't really get many opportunities for a rushing touchdown. So you got to like Allen.
And his favorite target, of course, is Stephon Diggs, who is second in targets among all wide receivers in the NFL. And he is just 1 yard shy of Tyreek Hill for the lead in receiving yards in the NFL. He's just unbelievable and has that chemistry with Josh Allen. I don't think any other duo in the NFL has the type of chemistry. I mean, Josh Allen can just glance at him and he knows exactly where they're going to be on the field and just produce these amazing plays. Going up against a Patriots defense, though, that does rank second in defensive DVOA, what do you make of Diggs for a daily fantasy play?
Diggs you can't count out ever.
Right.
So, I mean, he's averaging 7.6 receptions a game, just over 100 yards a game. He has 9 touchdowns on the year. He is the number one option by far on this offense. So you can't ever, count him out. It is a tough matchup for him, though. But I would still absolutely be going to him. I think between Josh Allen, Diggs, and Stevenson, a majority of the captain ownership is going to be there, and for good reason. So, I mean, I like Diggs again this week. Did you see the video on Thanksgiving between Diggs, and Allen before the game where Diggs was saying that he's thankful for Josh Allen?
Of course. I did not see the video, but that doesn't surprise me. Those two are like stepbrothers, They're like high five, karate in the garage. Those are the type of friends you need in your life.
Totally. Diggs just made a comment like, "You'll never know how thankful I am for you." And I mean, but that's just the chemistry that they have, and like they work so well together.
Yeah, so. I'm sure a lot of wide receivers out there would love to have Josh Allen as their quarterback, but alas, that they cannot. Let's look at another offensive weapon for the Bills, and that is running back Devin Singletary, who's averaging 70 yards from scrimmage this season. And he's kind of elusive. He's not the most powerful running back you'll see out there, but he's kind of a jack of all trades and a great option for fantasy, even though he's often overlooked in that offense that's just kind of fully loaded. And when you're in an offense with Josh Allen, who does do so much rushing, a lot of times the running back takes a back seat. But Devin Singletary, very capable of getting it done for fantasy owners. What do you make of his matchup this week against New England? They have a good rushing defense.
They have a very good rushing D, and I wanted to kind of bring him up a little bit more today just because, normally with this offense, we'll just talk about pass catchers, but with the Josh Allen injury talk, and it's also came along with Singletary getting a few more touches running the ball, it makes it a little more interesting. However, with his lack of touchdown upside, it's hard for me to really want to go here. I think I would rather use Stevenson on the other side if I was going to use a running back.
So let's talk about the Patriots and their quarterback, Mac Jones, who last year he looked great. He was having a great rookie season. This year, though, not quite as much, although his teammates are proud of him for the resilience he's shown through a lot of adversity this season for that offense. He ranks 22nd in quarterback efficiency. He's struggled under pressure. In fact, his passer rating in a clean pocket, 104. Passer rating under pressure, 27. That's a problem against a Bills defense that is 7th in quarterback pressures. Is he worth putting into a lineup?
He's absolutely worth putting into a lineup. That Bills defense has been a little leaky. They're minus Von Miller. They're ranked 25th, allowing 252 yards passing a game. Mac Jones has had some games this season where he's showing that ability that he showed last year. And I think he's looked a little bit better recently. So I do like Mac Jones.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the Von Miller effect of him not being in the game.
Yeah.
If you just don't know how impactful Von Miller is, you just look at the Rams this season. When they had him last year, they were putting a lot more pressure on opposing quarterbacks than this year. Can't seem to get it done. So Mac Jones, I'm sure, is breathing maybe a sigh of relief that he doesn't have to go up against him this week.
Sure he is.
How about wide receiver Jacoby Myers, who's averaging 63 yards per game? He's on pace for career high in receiving yards, and that's with missing 2 games because of a knee injury. Not too shabby for Myers, who's another one of those wide receivers that are just kind of underrated. And Belichick's a huge fan of his, and going up against a Buffalo pass defense that has actually struggled against wide receiver ones over the past couple weeks. In fact, they ranked 28th in pass defense DVOA versus the opposing team's wide receiver ones. So surprisingly, he's actually in a really good spot. I know we think of Buffalo defense as pretty stout, but they have been giving up a lot of yards to opposing wideouts.
They have, and Micah Hyde's out also, so that's another reason why this Buffalo defense might be struggling a little bit. But like you said, wide receiver ones have just been feasting versus Buffalo. I think it makes him a very interesting captain or MVP play at way low ownership than, the 3 main guys we already talked about here. But Buffalo ranked 30th, allowing 1.2 reception TDs to the wide receiver. Along with that, 167 passing yards. So I think there's a lot of upside here for Myers in this spot.
How about running back Ramondre Stevenson? I feel like he's your favorite player, one of your favorite players in the NFL right now. You've always been pretty high on him from a daily fantasy perspective as well. Yeah, 94 yards per game from scrimmage. And he's really been improving this season compared to last. He's much more versatile, great pass catcher. And Belichick loves him. And once you're on his good side, you know he's going to be going to you and trusting you in their offensive schemes. What do you see from him against this Bills defense that ranks 3rd in DVOA?
He's honestly like a bigger Alvin Kamara. Like, he has been spectacular over the last 4 weeks. He's averaging 6.3 receptions, 53 yards receiving, and adding in another 48.3 rushing yards.
Yeah.
And that's per game. He's been really good. Some of that is with Damian Harris there. Damian Harris is is out this week. So you can expect a little addition, to that rushing number there. Love his upside. And I think he's in a good spot, especially once again without Von Miller.
Yeah, and a free agent after this season. So
I think the Pats are going to lock him up.
You think they're going to lock him up? Well, they should. He's been playing great.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me some sleeper picks for this week.
On the Bills side, I think you got to throw in Knox, McKenzie. McKenzie had a really big game on Thanksgiving. So, and it seemed like there was a little bit of a scheme change. His ADOT was a lot further down the field on Thanksgiving than it was previously. If that continues, then he's really interesting. And then on the Patriots side, we can go Aguilar, Hunter Henry, JJ Taylor, if he gets called up again. Last time Harris was out, he did. Okay. So I think that one's interesting.
And from a captain MVP perspective, who are you boosting this week?
Allen. I mean, obviously, I've said this week in, week out, is I don't like quarterbacks in the captain or MVP spot unless there's rushing upside.
Josh Allen.
And Josh Allen has that rushing upside.
Sure does. Who else are we looking at?
Diggs, Stevenson, Gabe Davis, Jacoby Myers.
Okay, so some good options for you there in daily fantasy. Remember, all of this information is available on the LineStar app. We've got a nice lineup optimizer for you as well. If you feel like being lazy and just letting the computer do all the work, you can check that out at linestarapp.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube right now, make sure to like this video if you're enjoying our content, subscribe to our channel, sign up for those notifications. Now it's time for our touchdown calls of the game for Thursday Night Football Week 13. Tyler, who you got for an anytime touchdown?
Who do you think I'm going with?
I'm going to take a wild guess and saying it starts with a Ramon and ends with a Dre Stevenson.
It sure is. I'm going with Ramondre Stevenson. Without Damian Harris out, he gets all the goal line stuff, all the red zone stuff. The workload that he has is insane, and I think he's going to run one in.
All right. You know who I'm going with? Not too surprising here. A little bit chalk, but I can't not pick Stephon Diggs as my touchdown call for today. Plus 125. Are you kidding me? Any plus money for a Diggs touchdown, I'm all over it. He scored a touchdown in 7 of 10 games this season. He is just behind Tyreek Hill for the lead in receiving yards. In fact, just 1 yard behind him. And he has the second most targets in the NFL this season. So I'm definitely going to him in this one. And one thing that you should notice about Diggs, his ability to put his hands up at the last possible moment to make a catch so that the defender doesn't catch on. Yep. Watch that when you watch the game. It's unbelievable and something that Josh Allen praises him for. And I just think it's so incredible. It's just like, whoop, okay.
Yeah, all the best receivers are really good at that.
He's so good at it. And yeah, the chemistry between him and Josh Allen is, I don't think there's any other duo in the NFL. I could be wrong. I mean, Tyreek and Tua are getting there. But
yeah, they just haven't been together.
Yeah, they haven't worked together. I mean, those two are buds.
They sure are.
Stepbrothers. All right, let's get to our prop bets here. Where are you going in the prop market?
I'm going with Ramondre Stevenson over 35.5 receiving yards. Over the last 5 weeks, Stevenson has been used a ton in the passing game. He has over 39 targets, he has 39 targets over that span, averaging 54.6 receiving yards a game over that span. And over the last 4 weeks, Buffalo's been giving up almost 40 yards to the running back via receiving. So I think 35.5 is just too low.
I'm taking Patriots wide receiver Jacoby Myers over 51.5 receiving yards. Myers is averaging 63 receiving yards per game, and he's gone over in 7 of 9 games this season. He's the Pats' most reliable receiving weapon. He is fast. He's a good route runner. He's shifty. And Buffalo's defense will have a tough time against him. They are 20th in pass defense DVOA versus opposing teams' wide receiver ones. Take Myers over 51.5 receiving yards. That is way too low for Myers.
Oh, yeah. Over the last 5 weeks, every WR1 has broken that number.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Versus Buffalo.
So some good props there. Remember to lock those in on Underdog and PrizePicks. Links to that are below, and use our promo codes. For new users, you can get up to $100 of your deposit match there. Also, we use our Props Edge tool to help us come up with these props. You can find that on the Line Star app. It's a great tool, so check that out as well. Now we got to get into our game picks, all right? Who are we taking here? The Bills, 4-point favorites on the road at Foxborough. Usually, you don't see it a whole lot on the road in Foxborough against Bill Belichick, the hoodie. This time of the season when it's cold. Foxborough, who do you like in this game?
Bills have a couple key injuries.
It's a good
Left
point.
tackle, Von Miller. Let's do it. We're going upset.
Okay.
Home dog for the win.
Straight up, or are you taking the points?
Let's get straight up.
There you go. Okay.
Live
Feeling
wild
brave.
these days.
I am not feeling as frisky as Tyler over here. I'm taking the Bills to cover in this one. They haven't looked like the powerhouse that we saw earlier in the season. However, they've still been cranking out wins the past couple of weeks, and they still have a top 6 DVOA in offense and defense. In fact, they overall as a team have the highest DVOA in the NFL right now for good reason. They're still electric. They're still extremely well balanced. And I think when you go up against a team like the Patriots, yeah, their defense is great. But Mac Jones and the offense have to put up points, something they have struggled with this season. And when you're going up against Josh Allen in that Bills offense, who you know he's going to be slinging it, Mac Jones is going to have to match it. I don't think he can. Okay.
We'll see.
You don't think so? You think Mac Jones is going to outduel Josh Allen?
I don't think he's going to outduel Josh Allen, but I think Belichick just has a way of beating teams in multiple different aspects. And that at home, Belichick and this team is just totally different.
Yeah, he does have a great way of scheming. I know he can confuse a lot of quarterbacks, including Zach Allen. That's a mixture of Zach Wilson and Josh Allen right there. So against Zach Wilson a few weeks ago, going into that game, I just knew that Belichick has all the weapons at his disposal to just completely confuse opposing quarterbacks, and he's so good at it, best in the game at it. However, Josh Allen, he's a pretty smart quarterback as well.
He is.
And from a coaching perspective, too, love Sean McDermott and the Bills to be able to take it to the hoodie in this one. So it'll be a good game, though. I'm excited for a nice AFC East game and a lot on the line in this one, as we talked about at the front of the show.
Yeah, the Bills likely win this game, but I see a real path that the Patriots could.
Long term, how do you forecast the Bills' season?
I mean, we talked about it a little bit. I think they are likely to win
the AFC.
The AFC. However, if they lose this, I think it's between them and the Jets, and it's a real toss-up.
Do you see them as Super Bowl contenders? They were the favorite when the season started. The Chiefs have taken over that spot now.
They looked really good to start the year, and they've been off. And with them being off, like, they're not getting hot at the right time. So I would have to say probably not right now.
Yeah.
You know, there is still a lot of season left, so they can turn that around. But how they look right now and how this defense is playing, no, I don't think so.
I'm kind of with you on that, especially when you look at a team like the Chiefs who seem, dare I say, flawless right now. I mean, they always, week in and week out, they have the ability to beat teams, even if it's late in the game.
Yeah.
And their strength of schedule moving forward is the easiest of any team in the NFL. So if we're in the playoffs and the road goes through Arrowhead, is anyone really beating them?
It's hard to win in Arrowhead, that's for sure. But it's also hard for me to believe that they're far and away, above everybody else with that defense. Their defense isn't that great.
That is true. All right. For more fantasy stats, analytics, and everything, make sure to check out linestarapp.com. And again, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and sign up for notifications. It helps us out, and it helps you out to stay up with all of our video content that we're coming out with lately. Good luck in all your daily fantasy, your prop bets for Thursday Night Football. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.